Writing is a mystery. It's like taking a bridge and not knowing where you're going. But when you're taking that bridge, you know that you'll be given the freedom to write creatively. This bridge signifies exactly that. When you write, you have freedom, but you're also going to a place you don't know, but you know that the outcome will always be good. Let's start. A persuasive essay has many parts. This burger image shows that the bun, the onions, and all the ingredients of the burger make it up. Without one ingredient, the taste would be off. Although a persuasive essay has many parts, it doesn't have quite as many parts as the picture of the burger in the other image. It has less parts. So let's look at another picture of those parts labeled. Let's start with the introduction. An introduction can start with a question, a narrative vignette, a hyperbole, an alliterative phrase, or a quotation. If you take a look at the first paragraph in my essay I just wrote for persuasive argument essays, it starts with a narrative quote or something in the first person, and then it goes into question. An introduction can be more than one of these things. It can be more than just a question, a quotation. It can be all of those things. I also have a quotation in here. But it's just supposed to hook on the reader to make them want to keep reading. And also introduce the thesis of the statement and the three main ideas. If you take a look at the burger, the next thing is the first paragraph. For this part of the essay, you start with a transition word. In my essay, I used the words to begin with. Next, you list your reason. You list the main reason in my essay, which is fashion can lead to bullying. Then you give little points on that and conclude with the main idea again. The next paragraph is like the first one, is like the first main idea or the second paragraph, but it uses a different transition word. For example, I use further. This example is expensive, so further, many clothes are expensive. And then you break it down into the little points for each one, and you conclude with the main idea again. Also in the burger, I meant to say first point, second point, third point, instead of first paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, because the introduction is the first paragraph, the first point would be the second, and the third point would be the third. Next is the opposing position. This is what people who don't agree with your point would say. So I said, I use a transition nonetheless. This is basically saying that even though all these points may be true, others believe blank, 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 blank. So in my essay, they said that people believe it's important to look good. Although it may be true that you're supposed to look good, you shouldn't always be concerned about how you look. Next is the third paragraph. You use your transition. In this essay, I use the word finally. Then you say your third reason, which is fashion styles can be inappropriate. Then you elaborate on the little points you give, and you conclude with the main reason again. Lastly, you write your conclusion. Yay, almost finished. So the transition I use here is given these points. Then you say, I use that fashion has many consequences because that was what the essay is about, and that was my viewpoint, that fashion isn't always that important. Then you break down into the thesis statement all the points. The 3 points were bullying, it's very expensive, and reputations can be ruined because of dressing inappropriately. You also say what the other perspective was, which is, although it's important to look decent and not like a mess, it's also important not to be obsessed with how you look. Finally, you say your concluding sentence, and yes, you're done.